Hello, and thanks for stopping by the 741 channel today. The subject of today's video is this 2004 Chevy Tahoe. This Chevy Tahoe is going to replace the old Dodge Dakota that I've been driving for 16 years that you may have seen featured in my channel if you're a regular subscriber. That truck has just gotten to the point where the frame is a little bit too rusty to repair, and it was time to replace it with something else. Originally, I had started looking for another pickup truck similar to the Dodge Dakota. I really had a Toyota Tacoma or something like that in mind. But when I started looking at the prices and everything, I realized that something like that was going to be out of my budget. So I started looking around at other vehicles, and I was surprised to find that the Tahoe was in my budget. So I kind of reassessed my needs and thought that maybe an SUV like this would actually work out for me. The only thing that I won't really be able to do too much of is load firewood in the back of it, which is something that I used to do with the truck. But pretty much everything else I can do with the Tahoe, and then some. This is a good family vehicle. I can bring everybody along. My old truck was a regular cab, and I can only bring one passenger. And I can throw kayaks up on the top of this thing, and I can load the back up pretty much with a lot of stuff. So I think this thing is going to fit my needs quite well. As I said before, this is a 2004 Chevy Tahoe, but it's equipped with the ultra-rare Z71 package. This just isn't something that you see every day. So I was really lucky to find it, especially at the price I paid for this thing. As I mentioned before, the truck is in pretty good shape, and it doesn't have a lot of rust on it, but it does have a little bit here and there. You can see that this one spot here on the bumper is starting to bubble up. There's a little here, a little there, and there's a little bit on the bumper's front and back that I may address at some point. It looks like I could be able to grind that down and take care of it. Maybe put a coat of paint on there, but we'll see as the summer goes on whether or not I get ambitious enough to do it. So this truck came equipped with the 17-inch, what I'm calling snowflake rims that are actually in pretty good shape. They're not pitted or rusted or anything like that. A little bit dirty here and there, but in pretty good shape. The tires themselves are actually in okay shape. The front ones are worn a little bit funny. Both of them are a little bit more worn on the outside edge than they are on the inside edge, but when you get further in, the tread is actually pretty good on these, and I'm told that these Goodyear Assurance tires are an excellent tire. I have no experience with them, but we'll see what happens. I have my suspicions as to what's going on with the front end and as to why the tires are wearing the way that they are, and I'm going to try and take care of that. It might be a fix or it might not, and you may see that in a subsequent video here as I get familiar with the truck and address some of the issues on it. This may get a little bit shaky. I got the camera freehand now, but I wanted to give you guys a look under the hood so you can see how things look and see the condition it's in. Now, I'm not real familiar with these Chevy engines, these 5.3 liter engines, but if you see anything that looks out of place or incorrect or anything like that, please leave me a comment and let me know. But to my eyes, everything looks pretty well maintained under here and fairly clean. So now I'll fire up the engine so you guys can hear what it sounds like. One of the things that bugs me about this truck, and I know this is a nitpick, is the fact that this grille seems like it doesn't line up quite right. It seems like it should be a little bit higher up and tighter to the hood. You can see it's a bit flexible here. Now, I don't know if there's an adjustment on this or not yet. I haven't bothered to look into it. Or I don't know if this truck might have been in a little bit of a minor fender bender or something that kind of got things out of kilter on the front end here. There is evidence of a dent in the bumper behind the license plate, so it wouldn't surprise me if this is just out of kilter. But if anybody knows if there's any kind of way to adjust this, or if this is normal for these Z71 trucks with, the body-colored bumper and stuff, just leave me a comment below and let me know. As you can see, the interior looks fairly clean. I've got the custom camouflage duct tape patch over the ripped driver's seat here. I may or may not address this at some point. This seems to be fine for me, and for a beater truck, I'm not really worried about aesthetics. But everything else is in good shape. There's no real rips or anything, except for the headliner, which I'll show that in a minute. So the one thing in the interior that you guys can't really tell from the video, of course, is the fact that it kind of smells in here like cigarette smoke. I'm not a smoker, so this is something that I want to try and address at some point. But for right now, it's not too bad as long as I keep the windows open and that sort of a thing. As you can see here, the two back seats are the bucket captain's chairs, which makes it a little bit more comfortable for the backseat passengers. And I've also got the third row seats here, which I'll show now. Again, this may get a little shaky, but you can see I've got the third row back seat there. It looks like you could put 3 people back there, and with relative comfort, these children anyway. And then let's take a look here at the aforementioned headliner. It's not in horrible shape, but there's some stains and things like that there. The headliner above the driver's side is all kind of falling down. Looks like somebody made an attempt to kind of glue it, but it's still kind of falling down. I don't know if that's from the previous owner smoking in here and that kind of weakened the glue, or if that's normal, or if there was some water damage or something. You can't see it here because I got the sunroof open, but the sliding sunshade, the fabric on that is also falling down. Let's take a closer look at the inside. You can see here I've got the power windows, power mirrors, and power locks. But no heated seats on this truck, even though they are leather. And again, of course, this one was ripped, so I just patched it with some duct tape there for now. Dashboard, pretty typical for one of these. I got the standard instrument cluster. I've got the regular headlights and stuff. The fog lights on this truck are broken. One of them's even missing, so I'm going to have to get some replacements for those. One nice thing that this truck does have is the Bose sound system. You can see the Bose logo there and the fancy speaker over there. There's the Bose radio, or I guess it's a Bose radio. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Either way, it's got a decent sounding radio in it. I don't have the overhead DVD player, which is just fine with me, but I do have rear audio ports here, I guess, and heater controls and that sort of thing, so the rear passengers can play with those things on that control panel that's on the back of the main console there. Let's see, we got the overhead controls for the rear climate control and the map lights, and this garage door opener thing. I haven't tried to program this yet. It's supposed to be programmable for pretty much any garage door, so you can program your codes in and then use this to open it. And like I said before, I've got the sunroof. I've got it closed now so you can see the kind of saggy, water damaged. So here on the instrument cluster, I've got a fancy digital readout that gives me all kinds of statistics about the truck. There's the odometer, 187,512 so far on the clock. And then if I push these buttons on the steering wheel, I get all kinds of things I can look at, trip odometers and fuel mileage and all kinds of different things to look at. Let's see, we got oil life, range, average economy, instant economy, that sort of thing. And then I've got some controls that I can change, the perimeter lighting, the curb view assist. This is kind of a neat thing, this curb view assist. When you put the truck in reverse, the mirror tilt down. I wonder if I can show that without starting the vehicle here. Yeah, you can kind of see when I put it in reverse, the mirrors will just tilt down there and give you a view of the ground while you're backing up. I suppose that could be useful when you're backing a trailer up or if you're in a tight spot. when you put it back in park or go into drive, the mirrors return back to where they were. So that's kind of a neat feature. I like that on a big vehicle like this. This truck is also equipped with the automatic four-wheel drive, I guess what you would call an all-wheel drive. When you push this button, it sort of senses conditions and goes in and out of four-wheel drive on its own. Or you can run it in two-wheel drive, which is what I've been doing pretty much most of the time here. And then there's the traditional 4 high and 4 low. And of course, as you can see, it's all push-button control. No locking of hubs or any levers on the floor or anything to deal with. It's all push button and everything seems to be working just fine on this truck. No issues to report there. So here's a look at the back. You can see with it open, there's the fold-down seats. Those can fold down or actually be removed as well for more cargo space. So plenty of room back here for camping gear or whatever. You can see there's a few marks on the bumper here. The previous owner had a bumper sticker. And then this over here, I think this happened at work the other day. I drove this to work for the first time, and I think the landscaping crew did this. They were mowing the lawn. I don't think that was there when I bought it, but oh well, what can you do? Down here you can see I've got the Class 3 hitch and brake attachment and all that sort of thing that I don't really have any use for. I do have a utility trailer, but that's just a landscaping trailer, and this ought to be more than enough to pull that. From the back here, as you saw, the lift gate opens up where I can open up the glass independently, that type of a thing. The rear windshield wiper doesn't work, so that's one of the things I'll need to address. And again, on the back, we've got the rear Z71 badging. And over here, I'll show this. I did notice this when I purchased the vehicle. I noticed that when I was looking at it, you can see there's some evidence of filler here. And then this is kind of rusty here, where this is sort of welded together and that kind of a thing. So I think this thing may have been in a little bit of an accident there. You can kind of feel that this has maybe got some filler behind the paint. But whoever repaired it did a pretty decent job. Anyway, it looks blended fairly well. No real complaints, but it is different than the other side. Here's what the other side looks like. You can see this looks pristine, which is why I think the other side might have been repaired. So anyway, it doesn't matter. It seems okay. I don't notice any problems or leaking in the tail light or any of that kind of thing. Now up here, as part of the Z741 package, we have the special roof rack. And this is kind of nice because it's got a roller on the back. So this is especially useful for a heavy kayak. You can kind of lay the kayak up on the roller and then push that up, so that makes one person loading nice and easy. It's got the adjustable rails in the middle, which you can't see right now, but those are also useful. You can put the kayak holders on there, or bike holders, or whatever you've got, and adjust those forward and backward to fit your needs. So this is a really nice roof rack for this vehicle. So we'll try and take a look under the truck here. I don't know how well this is going to really work, but you can kind of see an example of the frame rail there. A little bit of surface rust, but nothing to be excited about. It's just kind of normal, I guess normal, what you'd call rust. Certainly not flaky or scaly or anything like what my truck looks like. Still pretty solid, lots of
No.
I guess normal, what you'd call rust. Certainly not flaky or scaly or anything like what my truck looks like. Still pretty solid, lots of life left in this frame. Still pretty solid, lots of life left in this frame. A little bit of surface rust on some of the components and stuff. I don't know if you can see the muffler there or not. That's a little bit, got a little bit of rust on it. That might need to be changed in a year or two. So here's a look sort of behind the engine and the transmission. You can see that it looks pretty clean. No drips, no leaks. It's not bad, in my opinion, for a truck with 187,000 miles on it and 13 years old. It's in pretty good shape. All the rubber boots and everything look good. No cracks on any of that stuff. It's all in good shape. It's really good under here. I don't know if this was a Southern truck or if it was just garaged or what it was, but anyhow, there's the transfer case. That looks like it's in good shape. And kind of spin around. You can see the muffler's got a little bit of rust on it. That might need to be changed at some point. And then there's the rear differential. That looks like it's in good shape. No leaks there or anything either. So I'm not sure if this is showing up real well or not, but you can kind of see back here I'm behind the rocker panels on the driver's side. And you can see there's a little bit of surface rust here, but there's no rot. It's, really good shape. So if I get under here this summer and coat this up with some product, I think it'll last a while. I don't expect it to last forever, especially here in Connecticut, but it ought to last me a good 2-3 years before it really starts to rot out. So let's take a quick look under the engine too here. I'll show you the fog light that's kind of dangling there. Not sure what happened with the fog lights, but the one on the other side is missing completely, so I'll have to get a pair of cheap fog lights and replace those just to have them. I bet somebody hit a snowbank or something like that. Anyway, here's a look kind of at the front suspension. You can see everything looks good. The shock back there, or strut, or whatever it is, looks like it's decent physically anyway. Rubber boots look good, no cracks or anything like that. They all seem to be quite serviceable. And of course, this being the Z71 model, it's got skid plates, and that's, kind of a thing. Down here behind this, I guess this is a CV joint. Even though the boot looks good, you can see there's a little evidence of grease there. I don't know if that's normal or not. Looks like it's right behind the front diff there, but if that's normal for these trucks, feel free to leave me a comment and let me know below, or if you think something's wrong there that I need to look at. But for right now, I think it's okay. I don't hear any noises or anything coming out of here. I'll just keep an eye on it. And it is the same on the other side. It looks about the same. So I'm guessing this is kind of normal for this kind of mileage, but probably something I need to keep an eye on. Take a quick look under this side. You can see there's that rust bubble on the bumper. Here's where the fog light should be. No idea where that would have went, but it's not there. And you can see the suspension on this side looks good. Just like the other side, it looks like it's in good shape. And there's that little bit of grease behind, I guess that's the CV joint. And like I said, everything else looks really good. Now let's take a quick look under the back. Here's the trailer hitch and the brake and all that sort of thing. Again, nothing I'm ever going to need to really use, I don't think. But it's there if I need it. There's the spare tire and rim. That's kind of rusty, but looks serviceable. A little bit of rust under here. That's to be expected, back bumper type of stuff. I don't know what it is with these vehicles, but it seems like all the back bumpers here in Connecticut tend to rot off. So a little bit more scale back here than I've seen elsewhere on the truck, but still, in pretty good shape for its age. So there's a look at the rear differential and that sort of thing. Everything looks real good back here. Brake lines are still pretty solid. Well, I do have the window open, but there's no rattles or shakes or anything like that. The engine's really quiet. It's a little drive here. I don't know how shaky this is going to be or if you guys are going to get seasick off of this, but I thought I'd do just a quick little example of driving. Here, I'm on just kind of a backcountry road, and may not really be translating through the camera too well. I do have the window open, but there's no rattles or shakes or anything like that. The engine's really quiet. Sounds good, and smooth delivery of power and everything. Of course, I'm going down a hill now, so it's going to roll good, but so the only real complaint I have about this truck, as far as operation and driving goes, is that the steering is a little bit vague, especially at speed. It's not as noticeable here on these back roads, but up on the highway, the interstate, the truck can kind of wander a little bit in the lane, and sometimes it'll go out of the lane a little bit, and I think that's because the steering box is loose, or maybe the intermediate shaft is loose, or a combination of both. At least that's what I'm hoping it is. If not, then I may have to start looking at tie rod ends and pitman arms and things of those nature, but I'm hoping that I'm not going to have to do any of that work. I'm hoping I'll just be able to tighten up that steering box. So I don't know if this will translate real well because of the sun. I'm doing about 45, 50 miles an hour now, and you can kind of see it's starting to wander on me a little bit here. If I take my hand off the wheel, it just kind of wants to go where the wind pushes it or the bumps in the road take it. Well, that's going to do it for the review of my 2004 Chevy Tahoe. I'll be making videos about this truck as I make little upgrades and repairs and, maintenance on it and that sort of thing. So feel free to subscribe if you want to see some more videos about this truck. They'll be coming in the future. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up or leave a comment. Thanks for watching.
Bang.